Have you ever watched a TV show and thought, wow, I wish I could understand every single expression, every joke, every clever line without subtitles? Imagine laughing along naturally with your friends while watching English shows, or even better, using those same expressions in real life. Today, on TalkTune English, I'm going to take you inside one of the most beloved TV shows in the world, Friends, and show you how to learn English directly from the funny, everyday conversations of the characters. By the end of this lesson, you'll know daily expressions that native speakers actually use, and you'll be able to add them to your English right away. Stay with me, because the first expression we'll explore is one you'll hear almost every single day in the United States. But textbooks almost never explain it clearly. I promise it's going to surprise you. But before we jump in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to TalkTune English, and ring the bell so you never miss a lesson. And tell me in the comments, which character from Friends is your favorite? Is it Chandler with his jokes, Joey with his funny personality, or maybe Monica with her energy? I love hearing your thoughts, and your comments help me make these lessons even better for you. All right, let's get started. Expression number 1 is something Chandler uses all the time, and if you learn it, you'll sound instantly more natural. That expression is, could it be any more? For example, Chandler might say, could this day be any worse? Now, what's happening here? He's not really asking a question. He's being sarcastic, funny, and dramatic at the same time. And here's the cool part. Native speakers picked this up from Friends, and many still use it today. Let's break it down. The structure is, could it be any more plus adjective? You can use it when you want to exaggerate something. For example, could this coffee be any hotter? Could he be any more annoying? Could life be any better? Notice how the stress is always on the word be. That's the joke. That's the Chandler-style exaggeration. Try it with me right now. Ready? Repeat after me. Could it be any better? Good. Now try. Could this food be any more delicious? Perfect. Pause for a second and try making your own sentence. Write it in the comments, I'll read them. And I might even highlight some of the best ones in the next video. This is how you practice actively, not just passively. Now, here's why this expression is powerful. Sarcasm is a huge part of everyday American humor. If you want to connect more naturally with native speakers, especially in casual situations, you need to recognize sarcasm. When someone says, wow, could this traffic be any worse? They're not asking you to calculate traffic levels. They're expressing frustration in a humorous way. So next time you're stuck in traffic or maybe waiting in a long line, you can try it out. Just remember, don't overuse it, or people might think you're trying too hard to be Chandler. All right, expression number 2 is one of Joey's favorites, and I know you're going to love it because it's short, powerful, and you can use it in almost any daily conversation. But before we dive in, let me remind you, if you're enjoying this lesson, smash that like button right now. It really helps TalkTune English reach more learners around the world, and it motivates me to keep making these free lessons for you. So, Joey is famous for his line, "How you doin'?" Now, this isn't just a greeting. It's a playful, charming, sometimes flirty way of saying hello. The pronunciation is key here, not "How are you doing?" but "How you doin'?" The G disappears, and the rhythm becomes smoother. Listen carefully. How you doin'? Try it with me. Ready? How you doin'? Good. Now, in Friends, Joey usually says this when he's trying to flirt with someone, but in real life, you can use it with friends in a casual, friendly way. For example, if you meet a buddy at a cafe, instead of just saying hi, you could say, "Hey, how you doin'?" It feels warm, relaxed, and natural. Let's practice together. Imagine you're walking into a room and you see a good friend. You smile and say, "How you doing?" Ready. Go. Perfect. Now imagine you're texting a friend in English. You could even write it the same way. "How you doing?" It's playful, and your friend will probably smile. Here's something important. In American English, greetings can set the mood of a conversation. If you start with "How you doing?" it feels friendly and approachable. Compare that to a very formal "How are you?" which might sound too stiff between friends. Learning expressions like this helps you sound less like a textbook and more like a real person. Okay, we've already learned two fantastic expressions. Chandler's sarcastic, "Could it be any more?" and Joey's friendly, "How you doing?" But we're just getting started. In the next part, we'll explore an expression that Monica uses all the time, and it's something you'll definitely want to use in your daily life, especially if you like things neat, organized, or maybe just a little bit perfect. So stick with me, because the next expression might just become your new favorite phrase. Before we move on, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who's also learning English. And don't forget to drop a comment with your own example sentence using Chandler's expression or Joey's line. I'm Jason from TalkTune English, and this is only the beginning. Let's keep going. That means you're serious about improving your English and you're having fun doing it. That's the best combination. Remember, English doesn't have to be boring. With friends, it can actually be exciting, funny, and something you look forward to every day. We learned Chandler's sarcastic, "Could it be any more?" and Joey's playful, "How you doing?" Now it's time to move on to another character, and this one is all about energy, control, and perfection. Yes, I'm talking about Monica. If you've watched Friends, you know Monica's organized, competitive, and always wants things done the right way. That's why the expression we're learning today fits her personality so well. The phrase is, "I know." Now, you might be thinking, wait, isn't "I know" just two simple words? Yes, but the way Monica says it is what makes it powerful. She doesn't just say "I know" quietly. She says it loudly, quickly, and with excitement. Imagine someone gives you a compliment. "Your dress looks amazing." Monica would reply, "I know," almost shouting, with a big smile. Here's the interesting part. In many cultures, people respond to compliments with modesty. For example, in some countries, if someone says, "You look beautiful," the polite response might be, "Oh no, not really," or "You're too kind." But in American English, especially in a casual, friendly context, it's completely okay to accept a compliment directly. That's what Monica shows us. So, when you say "I know" in the Monica style, you're not being arrogant. You're being playful, confident, and fun. Let's practice. Imagine someone says, "You're really good at cooking." You reply, "I know." Try it now. Louder. "I know." Good. Another example. Your friend says, "You're so smart." You can say, "I know," with a big smile. It feels lighthearted and natural. Now here's a little exercise for you. Think of something you're actually good at. Maybe you're good at singing, dancing, playing a sport, or even learning languages. Say it with pride. For example, "Friend, wow, your English is improving so fast." "I know." See, it's not rude. It's funny, and it shows confidence. Pause the video for a moment and write a short dialogue in the comments where you use "I know" like Monica. This is your chance to practice actively, and I'll read as many as I can. Let's take a moment to understand the cultural background. In the U.S., being confident is often seen as a positive trait. When Monica says "I know," she's not just agreeing. She's showing that she enjoys the compliment, and she's not afraid to own it. That's a very American style of communication. But here's a little warning. You don't want to use "I know" every single time someone gives you a compliment. Sometimes it's still better to just say "thank you." But when you want to sound playful and confident, "I know" is perfect. Let me show you a fun comparison. Compliment: "You look amazing today." Response 1. "Thank you." Safe. Polite. Always okay. Response 2. "I know." Playful, confident, fun. Very Monica. Both are correct. It just depends on the mood. Now let's do a little pronunciation practice. Notice that Monica's "I know" is very short, fast, and high energy. She doesn't say "I know." She says "I know" with a quick rise in tone. Try it with me. Ready? "I know." One more time. "I know." Great job. And here's the secret. Tone matters. If you say it slowly and seriously, it might sound arrogant. But if you say it quickly with a smile, it sounds playful. That's why copying Monica's delivery is so useful. So now you have 3 powerful expressions. Chandler's sarcastic, "Could it be any more?" Joey's friendly, "How you doin'?" Monica's confident, "I know." Each one teaches you not just words, but also American style, tone, and culture. That's the beauty of learning English through friends. By the way, if you're enjoying this, make sure you've subscribed to TalkTune English. When you subscribe, you join a community of learners all around the world who are passionate about improving their English in a fun way. And don't forget to give this video a like if you've learned something new today. Every like tells me you want more content like this. Now, before we finish part 2, I want to challenge you. Try to use Monica's "I know" at least once in your daily life this week. Maybe when a friend compliments you, or even in your English class. Watch how people react. You'll probably make them smile, and you'll feel a little more confident using English. And here's a fun idea. Next time you watch Friends, pay attention to Monica. Notice how often she says "I know," and listen to the tone. Then practice copying her exactly. This is called shadowing, and it's one of the fastest ways to improve your speaking. All right, let's build some curiosity for what's next. We've learned expressions from Chandler, Joey, and Monica, but we haven't talked about Rachel yet. In next part, we'll dive into Rachel's expressions. And trust me, she has some that are perfect for everyday life, especially when you want to sound stylish, casual, and modern. So don't stop here. Keep going with me. You're about to discover phrases that will make your English not just correct, but truly cool. But before we move on, let's wrap up this part with a quick review. Say each expression after me. Could it be any more? How you doing? I know. Excellent. You're learning real English, the kind people actually use. I'm Jason from TalkTune English, and I'll see you in the next part. Let's keep learning with friends. And we are moving forward in our journey of learning English with friends. So far, you've learned Chandler's sarcastic humor, Joey's charming greeting, and Monica's confident reply. Each one has given you not just English words, but also insight into American style and culture. Now it's time to focus on another character, someone who brings her own unique flavor to the show. I'm talking about Rachel. She's stylish, independent, and often very expressive. Her way of speaking can teach you phrases that are both casual and modern, the kind of English you can actually use with friends today. The first Rachel-style expression we'll explore is, "Oh my God, I know what you're thinking." That sounds simple, but here's the truth. In American English, this phrase is extremely common, and the way you say it makes all the difference. Rachel uses "oh my God" in so many situations when she's shocked, when she's excited, when she's frustrated, or even when she's gossiping with her friends. Let's break it down. Oh my God is usually pronounced quickly. Oh my God, or even, oh my gosh, if someone wants to be a little softer or more polite. The tone changes depending on the emotion. If you're surprised, you might say, oh my God. If you're excited, you could say, oh my God, that's amazing. If you're upset, it might sound like, oh my God, this is so annoying. Practice it with me. Ready? Surprise. Oh my God. Excitement. Oh my God, that's incredible. Frustration. Oh my God. Not again. Perfect. Now, here's a cultural note. Some people in the U.S. prefer to say, oh my gosh, instead of oh my God, because it sounds less religious. Both are fine, and you'll hear them every day. Rachel usually says, oh my God, and it became one of her most recognizable lines. I want you to try this right now. Think of something surprising that happened to you recently. Maybe you lost your keys. Maybe you saw an amazing sunset. Maybe your favorite singer released a new song. React to it in English. Say, oh my God. Pause and actually try it out. And here's a challenge for the comments. Write a short sentence where you would naturally say, oh my God. For example, oh my God, I can't believe I passed the test. Or, oh my God, this pizza is so good. Share yours below. Now let's move on to another Rachel expression that is short but powerful. Whatever. Rachel often uses this when she wants to dismiss something or when she doesn't care about the argument anymore. It's casual, sometimes a little bit sassy, and very common in American English. For example, if someone says, you're wrong, Rachel might reply, whatever. It means she doesn't want to continue the fight. Or if a friend is bragging too much, she might roll her eyes and say, whatever. Let's practice. Ready? Say it with the Rachel tone. Whatever. One more time. Whatever. Notice the flat, dismissive voice. That's what gives it power. Be careful though. This expression can sound rude if you use it in a serious situation. It's best for casual conversations with close friends, when you're joking, or when you're pretending to be dramatic like Rachel. Here's a little role play. Imagine you're talking with a friend. Friend, I'm so much better at this game than you. You, whatever. It's lighthearted, and it shows you're not taking the comment seriously. Now, let's add one more Rachel-style expression. Seriously. Rachel often uses this when she's surprised, frustrated, or doesn't believe what someone just said. It's short, but it's very natural. In fact, Americans use seriously all the time in daily life. Examples. Your friend is late for the third time. You say, seriously. Someone gives you an unbelievable story. You ask, seriously. You hear good news that's hard to believe. You react, seriously. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. Seriously. One more time. Seriously. Perfect. This expression is fantastic because it's flexible. Depending on your tone, it can mean surprise, disbelief, or even excitement. That's why Rachel's speech is so useful. She uses expressions that are short, emotional, and easy to remember. Let's review Rachel's 3 big ones. Oh my God, for shock, excitement, or frustration. Whatever for dismissing or not caring. Seriously. For surprise or disbelief, I want you to practice using all 3 in a short dialogue. For example, friend, guess what? I won the lottery. You, oh my God. Seriously. Friend, yes, I did. You, whatever. I don't believe you. That little scene feels natural and fun. Right. Now, here's something important. Rachel's expressions are often connected to emotions. That's why they're so valuable for English learners. Many students focus too much on grammar and forget that English is also about expressing feelings. By using phrases like, oh my God, whatever, and seriously, you can sound more alive, more authentic, and more connected when you speak. Let me remind you to hit like if you've learned something new. Subscribe to TalkTune English so you never miss the next lesson, and leave a comment using one of Rachel's expressions. I really enjoy reading your examples. And let me give you a small assignment. This week, pay attention to your emotions. Whenever you feel surprised, frustrated, or excited, try to react in English. Instead of using your native language, say, oh my God, whatever, or seriously. The more you practice in real life, the faster these expressions will become natural for you. All right, so now we've covered Chandler, Joey, Monica, and Rachel, but we still have two important characters left, Phoebe and Ross. We'll dive into Phoebe's world. She's quirky, creative, and totally unique. Her expressions will teach you how to be playful, original, and sometimes just a little bit weird in the best way possible. So don't stop here. Join me in the next part, and let's keep building your English with friends. I'm Jason from TalkTune English. This is Jason from TalkTune English, and today we're stepping into the wonderfully unusual world of Phoebe Buffet. If you've been following along since part 1, you've already learned from Chandler, Joey, Monica, and Rachel. Each of them gives us a different piece of real, everyday English. But Phoebe, well, Phoebe is in a category all her own. Phoebe is quirky, unpredictable, and always surprising her friends with the things she says. That makes her the perfect teacher for learning creative expressions that help you stand out when you speak English. And the best part, many of her lines are funny but also useful in real life. The first Phoebe-style expression we'll explore is one she uses often when something unbelievable or strange happens. She simply says, "Oh no." Now, you might think, wait a minute, "oh no" is too simple. But here's the thing, it's all in the way Phoebe says it. She often stretches it out with her voice, giving it a dramatic and emotional sound. Oh no! Sometimes it's fake dramatic, sometimes it's real, but it always gets attention. In daily English, oh no is one of the most flexible reactions you can use. If your friend drops a cup, you can say, "oh no." If it starts raining while you're outside, you can say, "oh no." If someone tells you bad news, you can respond with, "oh no, that's terrible." Phoebe teaches us to use it dramatically, but you can also use it sincerely. Let's practice. Ready? Say it dramatically. "Oh no." Good. Now say it softly, with sympathy. "Oh no. I'm sorry to hear that." Perfect. This simple phrase can make you sound more natural because native speakers use it all the time. Now, let's look at another Phoebe-style expression. She often says things like, "this is all wrong," or "that's so not true." The interesting part is how she adds the word "so" before "not." Instead of just saying, "that's not true," she says, "that's so not true." It adds emphasis, it makes it stronger, and it sounds very conversational. Let me give you some examples. "That's so not fair." "You are so not ready for this." "That's so not what I meant." This little structure, "so not" plus adjective phrase, is something you'll hear a lot in casual American English, and friends helped popularize it. It sounds playful, dramatic, and sometimes even funny. Try it with me. Say, "that's so not true." One more time. "That's so not fair." Excellent. I want you to write your own sentence in the comments using "so not." For example, "this weather is so not what I wanted today." Be creative, just like Phoebe would be. All right, let's add one more Phoebe expression, and this one might be my favorite. Sometimes, when something strange happens, Phoebe reacts with, That is brand new information. She uses it in an exaggerated way, almost making fun of someone who says something obvious. For example, if someone says, "The sky is blue," Phoebe might reply, "That is brand new information." She's being funny, but the phrase is actually useful if you want to react to something surprising. Let's break it down. Brand new means completely new, never used before. So when you say that is brand new information, you're pretending that what you just heard is shocking, even if it's not. Try saying it with me in a Phoebe-style voice. That is brand new information. Good. Now try it a little more serious. Wow, that's brand new information. See how flexible it is. You can use it in daily conversations to sound funny and lighthearted. For example, friend, did you know water is wet? That is brand new information. Or, in a real situation, friend, I just got a new job. That's brand new information. Congratulations. See how fun that is. Now, let's review the 3 Phoebe-style expressions we've covered. Oh no, for surprise, sympathy, or drama. That's so not. To add emphasis in a playful way. That is brand new information. For humor and surprise, these expressions show you something important. English isn't always about being correct. It's also about being expressive. Phoebe reminds us that communication should be creative, emotional, and sometimes even silly. And when you use language like this, people will enjoy talking with you more. Before we move forward, take a second and like this video if you're enjoying learning English with friends. Your likes and subscriptions help me keep making free lessons for learners all over the world. And don't forget to leave a comment with your favorite Phoebe-style sentence. I want to challenge you this week. Try to use at least one of these expressions in real life. If your friend tells you some surprising news, say, "That is brand new information." If you drop something, say, "Oh no," out loud. And if someone accuses you of something silly, reply, "That's so not true." The more you use these, the more natural they'll feel. Now, we've covered Chandler, Joey, Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe. That leaves one more main character, Ross. We're going to dive into Ross's expressions. He's serious, sometimes dramatic, and sometimes nerdy. But his way of speaking teaches us useful English for situations when you need to explain, argue, or show strong feelings. So don't go anywhere. You'll learn how to argue like Ross, how to emphasize your point, and even how to use his famous line that people still quote today. I'm Jason from TalkTune English, and I'll see you in the next part. Let's keep learning together. We've already learned expressions from Chandler, Joey, Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe. Each of them gave us a special piece of natural English, and I hope you've been practicing them in your daily life. Today, it's time to move on to Ross. Ross is the character who often takes things seriously. He's intelligent, sometimes dramatic, and sometimes a little awkward. But that makes him such a great teacher for English learners, because his speech is clear, emotional, and full of expressions that you can use when you need to emphasize something important. The first Ross-style expression we'll look at is one of his most famous lines, "We were on a break." If you're a fan of Friends, you already know the story. Ross and Rachel were having problems in their relationship, and Ross insists again and again, "We were on a break." He repeats it with strong emphasis, sometimes shouting, sometimes almost pleading. So how can we use this in English learning? The key here isn't just the words, but the way he emphasizes the phrase "on a break." Ross shows us how repetition and stress can make a phrase powerful and memorable. In real life, you can use the same style to emphasize your side of an argument. For example, "I told you already. That's not what I meant. I was just joking." By stressing one part of the sentence, just like Ross stresses on a break, you show emotion and make your point stronger. Let's practice together. Repeat after me. We were on a break. Say it with strong emotion. Good. Now, change it to something else. Say, I told you already. Excellent. That's Ross-style English. Now, let's move on to another useful expression Ross often uses, unagi. This became a funny running joke in Friends. Ross says unagi when he's trying to sound wise and serious. He explains it as a state of total awareness, though in reality, he's mixing up the Japanese word for eel with a martial arts concept. So why is this useful? Because it shows how native speakers sometimes take foreign words and use them in a funny or creative way. In American English conversations, people often borrow words from other languages, sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly. Just for humor, Ross reminds us that language is playful, and sometimes people exaggerate to sound dramatic. You probably won't use unagi in your daily life, but you can use the idea behind it. Create emphasis by borrowing a word or making something sound bigger than it really is. For example, you might say, "This is not just coffee, this is magic." That kind of exaggeration makes your English more colorful. Now, let's look at one more Ross expression. He often says, "Hi." You might be wondering, how is hi an expression? But if you've watched Friends, you know Ross says hi in his own unique, awkward tone. It's usually slow, low-pitched, and sometimes sad. It shows us that even the simplest word can carry strong emotion if you say it the right way. In real life, this is a powerful lesson. Don't just think about the words you say. Think about how you say them. A simple hi can mean many things. It can mean happiness, sadness, nervousness, or even romance, depending on your tone. Let's practice. Say hi in a happy voice. Now say hi in a sad voice. Now say hi in a nervous voice. See? One word, 3 different feelings. Ross teaches us that tone and emotion are just as important as vocabulary. Let's review Ross's 3 main lessons. We were on a break. Teaches us about emphasis, repetition, and stress. Unagi teaches us how English speakers sometimes borrow or exaggerate words for humor. Hi teaches us that even simple words can carry strong emotion depending on tone. Now, I want to challenge you. This week, practice saying one short phrase with different emotions. Pick something simple, like "I'm fine" or "That's great," and say it in 3 different ways. Excited, frustrated, and sarcastic. You'll see how much power tone gives to your English. Don't forget to give this video a like. If you're learning something new, subscribe to TalkTune English so you don't miss the next parts. And leave me a comment using one of Ross's styles. For example, write your own "we were on a break" moment, but change the words to something from your life. Maybe, "I was studying," or "I told you already." I'll be reading through your comments, and I'd love to see your creativity. Alright, so we've now learned from all 6 main characters of Friends: Chandler, Joey, Monica, Rachel, Phoebe, and Ross have each given us special English expressions to use in daily life. But we're not finished yet. We're going to take all these expressions and put them together into real-life situations. I'll show you how to use Chandler's sarcasm, Joey's greetings, Monica's confidence, Rachel's excitement, Phoebe's creativity, and Ross's emphasis all in one conversation. This will help you sound natural, flexible, and ready for any situation. So stay with me. I'm Jason from TalkTune English, and I'll see you in part 6. Let's keep learning and laughing with friends. You've made it all the way to part 6 of our series, which means you've learned from Chandler, Joey, Monica, Rachel, Phoebe, and Ross. That's the entire group of friends. Congratulations! You've already collected a set of daily English expressions that are fun, natural, and full of personality. But now, it's time for the most important part. In this final section, we're going to put everything together. Because learning expressions one by one is good, but learning how to actually use them in real-life conversations is what will truly transform your English. So let's begin. I'm going to show you how all of these expressions can fit into a simple, everyday situation. Meeting up with friends at a cafe. Imagine you're sitting down with a group of people. How could you use everything you've learned from friends? Let's walk through it step by step. You walk in and see your friends. Instead of just saying hello, you channel Joey and say, "How you doing?" Everyone laughs because it sounds friendly, casual, and charming. Well, that's a perfect opening line. Next, you sit down and notice your coffee is way too hot. You look at it, raise your eyebrows, and in your best Chandler voice say, "Could this coffee be any hotter?" Your friends laugh again, because you sound sarcastic but playful. Then, one of your friends compliments your outfit. Instead of just saying thanks, you switch to Monica mode and say confidently, "I know, it feels funny," confident, and lighthearted. You're showing that you can accept compliments with a smile. Now, someone else shares exciting news. They say, "I just got promoted at work." How do you respond? You channel Rachel and say, "Oh my God, seriously." That combination shows excitement, surprise, and interest. But then another friend starts bragging too much. They won't stop talking about how great they are. You lean back, roll your eyes like Rachel, and simply say, "Whatever." Everyone laughs, because you've captured that casual, dismissive tone perfectly. Later, someone spills their drink. You turn into Phoebe and say dramatically, "Oh no." Then, when they tell you a fact you already knew, you laugh and say, "That is brand new information." That's Phoebe-style humor, playful, dramatic, and fun. Finally, one of your friends is late, and they make up a silly excuse. You channel Ross, throw your hands in the air, and say, "We were on a break." Everyone laughs because they know the reference. Then, when another friend walks in and says hello, you imitate Ross's awkward style and respond with a slow, deep hi. And there you go. In one simple cafe scene, you've just used expressions from every single character. You didn't just learn the words, you brought them to life. Now let's step back and see why this matters. These expressions are not just about memorizing funny lines from a TV show. They're about learning tone, rhythm, and the emotional side of English. Too often, learners focus only on grammar and vocabulary, and their speech sounds robotic. But by practicing expressions like these, you add personality, humor, and authenticity to your English. Think about it. When Chandler exaggerates, when Joey flirts, when Monica owns a compliment, when Rachel reacts emotionally, when Phoebe gets creative, and when Ross emphasizes what do they all have in common, they're communicating feelings, not just information, and that's exactly what you need if you want to connect with people in real conversations. So here's your final challenge. I want you to create your own mini scene in English, using at least 3 of the expressions we've studied. Imagine you're with friends. Write a short dialogue in the comments, just a few lines, where you actually use the phrases. For example, friend, you look amazing today. I know. Friend, this pizza is delicious. Could it be any tastier? Friend, I forgot my wallet. Oh no. It doesn't need to be perfect. The point is to practice using them actively, not just listening passively. And here's one more tip. Don't be afraid to exaggerate when you practice. Act like Chandler. Act like Joey. Act like Monica. The more you exaggerate now, the easier it will feel when you actually use these phrases naturally later. Remember, fluency comes from repetition, emotion, and confidence. Before we close this series, let me say thank you for joining me through all 6 parts. We've spent time together learning not only English expressions, but also the culture, humor, and emotions that make those expressions powerful. I'm so proud of you for sticking with it. Now, as always, make sure to like this video if it helped you. Subscribe to TalkTune English so you never miss another lesson. And leave me a comment below with your own dialogue using these expressions. I read your comments, and I love seeing you practice. Finally, I want you to remember this. Learning English is not just about words, it's about connection. Every phrase you've learned from friends is a tool to help you connect more deeply with people, to laugh with them, to share with them, and to be part of the conversation. So keep practicing, keep having fun, and keep speaking with confidence. I'm Jason from TalkTune English, and this has been Learn English with Friends. Daily expressions you'll love. Thank you for watching. Thank you for learning with me. And I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep tuning your English with TalkTune.